All right. I'm bringing in Babe Ruth from his beach house, no less.
Yeah.
Jorge Capestany always gives amazing presentations. Tonight is going to be no different. I see we already have 43 people on. I see we already have two of my favorite people right there, Scott and Sharon Levy. So welcome in, guys. As you come on in, let us know where you're from. Let us know how you're enjoying TennisCon. Any doubles questions you have, get them queued up and pop them in. We'll answer them as we go. And Jorge, how are you doing tonight?
Good, buddy. I'm hanging down here in Daytona Beach where I have a little vacation home. And I'll be headed back to Michigan Thursday. So I'm a little in the warm area right now.
Yeah, well, that sounds nice, except for having to go back to Michigan on Thursday.
So it's actually been incredibly warm up there. I think it's still in the 70s this week, which is pretty unusual for us.
Well, good. Well, I appreciate you coming on, especially being on
buddy.
vacation. And we've got a great presentation for everybody tonight. Oh, we got people calling me right as we start the live stream, so I'm going to turn off my phone. But by the way, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if that call would maybe be about how do I log into my membership or something like that. So if you happen to have a lifetime access pass and you're wondering, how do I log in or anything, just email me at crunchtimecoaching@gmail.com and I will make sure to set you up and get you in. So that's never a problem. So don't be shy about it. Don't get frustrated. I'm right there to help you. I was on the email all day today helping people get in to their membership.
Nice.
So that's what it's all about. All right. So, yes, somebody wants to know, has it started? It hasn't really started. We're kind of in the small talk.
We're in the small talk phase.
Best shots to prevent lobs from the opponents. We're gonna get to all that kind of good stuff.
I have an answer for that one already.
Wow. You have an answer for everything. Jorge. Oh, look at this. Jorge is the best doubles partner I ever had. He ran down lobs over. Well, how about
I did that one time in my life, and that's what I'm holding. Mike Woody is my old doubles partner, and he's quite a bit better doubles player than me, to be honest. But one time I outran him for a lob, so I'm hanging. That's my claim to fame. I out hustled him on one shot.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad. Well, he never forgot it, so that's pretty cool. You got a good partner right there. So, all right, we'll set us up for the doubles checkpoints. What are we going to kind of be going through tonight?
So we got a few things. I got a PowerPoint presented, so let me just make sure we can.
It's there. Do you want me to pop it up? Why don't you go back to the first page, because I want everybody to see your beautiful.
My beautiful face.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I like how you actually look at that. There it is, doubles checkpoint. Yeah. It looks great.
Yeah, so let's here's what we're going to cover. Sometimes we'll take a little bit of, like some of these we'll go through quickly, some not. And then for sure, I hope to get through all this in like 30 minutes so we can have a good amount of questions from the audience. So we'll talk about the 4 jobs, blah, blah, blah. There it is. Let's get going. The 4 doubles positions, okay? This is really what my master class is about this year. So we're not going to take a deep dive here because when my session goes live, I think in a couple days, we're going to show you how to practice each of these. But here's what I want to open with. Let's say that you're watching and you're a 3-5 player right now. Let's just say, I'm sure there's some 3-5s watching and 4-0s, whatever. Let's just pick 3-5. When you play these 4 positions, you yourself are a 3-5, but your positional rating might be different. For example, maybe your serve is like a 3-7, one of the strong points. And maybe when you're the server's partner and you're up at the net, you're not very good at this. Maybe you're a 3-0 when you're playing that role. And when you're returning, maybe you got sweet groundies and you're really good at returning. So maybe you're like a 3-9. The returner, but and the returner's partner, you get cooked a lot, you don't shift back and forth, so you're over like a 3-0. So I just want to start with that because I think a lot of people say, well, obviously if you play doubles, you're playing all 4 of these positions, but it doesn't mean you play them equally well. Okay, so for me, when I think the highest I ever got with the 5-0, I was pretty far from the pro tour, but my serve It was like a 4-7. No one really said my serve like, oh, Jorge serve. Oh my gosh. Um, but I had good accuracy and I could hit a little kick, but I wasn't winning tons of free points. So let's say if when I was at my peak at 5-0, my serve, I was probably like a 4-7. When my partner was serving, I was about a 4-7. I wasn't the greatest poacher. I had good hands, but I couldn't go. As a returner, I can break it down even further. If you gave it to my forehand, I was about a 5-0 returner. If you hit it into my one-handed, I was about a 3-0 returner. And when I was returner's partner, like my partner was
Hey,
returning.
hey, Jorge, can I interrupt you for 1 second? I don't know if there's anything you can do about it. If you we can't, no big deal. But like your sound good, and then you go out like towards
Oh,
the end of sentences. So I don't know what's going on.
I'm gonna hold this closer. Does that sound any better?
Right now it does. Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep this nearby.
Okay.
So, going through these, I just want you to think of of yourself and kind of do a little audit, like whatever whether you're a 4-5 player, a 3-5. What are you really? If you had to give yourself a point rating per, you know what I'm saying, Peter?
Oh, yeah. I get it.
Here's why I think that's important. Because if you do that exercise, now you know, okay, of these things, my weakest is the return. Um, I'm a 3-5 player, but I return like a 3-3-0 player. Well, that's good news. I mean, that's not happy that you're, but now you know what to practice. Okay, and this is all very, very important. So, um, one of the things we saw, I'm moving on because I got a lot of stuff. So one of the things that I mentioned in that first slide was the doubles laws. So doubles laws, I didn't really invent this. A couple of friends of mine out of Toledo, believe it or not, they were great teaching pros. They coined the phrase doubles laws, and man, is it accurate? Doubles laws basically just mean in doubles, when you're the person deep in the court, you hit deep to deep. That's a general rule of doubles. Okay, are there exceptions? Certainly. Like if the guy at the baseline is a 3-0 or a 5-0 and the guy at the net's a 3-0, maybe you avoid it. But all things considered, you would want to be hitting deep to deep. Okay. Um, and the opposite when you're at the net, when you're the guy closest to the net, you generally want to hit to the other guy who's close to the net because they'll have less time. Pretty basic logic. There are some exceptions if you're volleying from below net level. Then you don't go close to close because you got to pop it up and you want to keep it away from the guy that can hurt you. So the doubles laws, close to close, deep to deep. The reason I mentioned them is because this is Jorge's opinion. I have no scientific data to back it up, but I've been doing this for a while, and I think my prediction is good. If 10 points are played in doubles, 10 points end. I'm going to take a guess that probably 8 of them it ended with somebody screwing up their job. Somebody that was deep hit to the net guy, and then the guy volleys it, and the guy at the net thinks he screwed it up. No, if you look at the roots of the problem, somebody violated the doubles laws. So we can talk a little bit more about that, but that's kind of what I want to talk there. So Peter, I'm going quickly, so just feel free to. This is like the third thing already.
I don't want to
Um,
get in your way, buddy. You're on fire. So keep
We're not
going.
going to go real long on this because this is another thing that is in the masterclass when I go live later this week. But there's 20 questions that I came up with long time ago that doubles partners should ask of each other. I'm having the screen the first 10 here. Here's the next 10, but I'm just going to go through a couple. You'll see that a few of them are red, like the number is red, right? So the first one, like obviously, who plays a deuce, who plays the ad, you know, of course, there's been some discussions about that. Number two, this is maybe one that does not typically get asked. I'm going to say 99% of the people, they never ask this of a doubles partner or have been asked, which is like, hey, Peter, when you miss an easy shot out here, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to
Hmm.
shut up? Do you want me to turn and walk away from me? You want me to come up and pat you in the shoulder? You want me to give you a technical piece of advice? Probably not. What do you want from me? That would be a really good idea to know because I'm telling you, there's tons of doubles partnerships out there where one or both are frustrated. and it's they're getting under each other's skin and like, "Ah, why, I made a double fault." And like, look at number three here. After double fault, what do you want me to do? You're probably going to double fault at least once this match. What do you want me to do? Encouragement? Nothing. Walk away. Um, Four, do you want to use signals or not? I think that's an important one. Five, who do you think should serve first? When we played, Mike Woody, my buddy here, hopefully still in the call, his serve was way bigger than mine. Number six is another intangible. Do you want a partner who's loud and intense or more quiet and reserved? Okay, because depends. We're all somewhere on that scale. And let's say that Jorge is kind of an intense person, like every other shot. I'm like, come on, let's go, come on. And then Peter, my partner, hates that. He's like, dude, chill out. These are questions worth asking. And what should our plan A be? I'm going to jump to the next screen here. Again, I don't want to spend a lot of time. If people have questions, guys, start writing them down. If you have a question about these, we can all answer them at the end. 11 and 12 are kind of more mental questions, very, very common that no one's asking this. Like, what do let's say we lose. How do we handle that afterwards? You want to have a beer over it? You want to talk the next day? You want to debrief immediately? Everybody has a different opinion, and it might be worth figuring out what you and your partner should be doing. Number 15, do you like to hear advice and coaching from me? I can tell you 99% of partners don't want to be coached by their partner. They just want encouragement, usually. Some partners you might play with, when they make a mistake and you run over there like, that's all right, Peter, come on, and you try to high five them, they don't want that either. It's like, dude, just, leave me alone. I'm mad and I don't want you trying to pump me up. So these are some really pivotal questions. I know that you have this. So when you watch the seminar, on when I think I don't even know what day, when we go live, you'll get the 20 questions. And I promise you, if you can print those and just spend a few minutes going over it with your partner, it's going to be really great. Okay. The other thing on my opening screen was the 4 job descriptions that exist in tennis for positions or roles. Remember, we can be rated differently. Probably about 2 years ago, my list of job responsibilities has not changed. I'm going to put them up here very much. They've evolved, but what I do now, Peter, is I don't just put a list of 5 like I used to. I put primary and secondary jobs because I just really want, people to understand, like, this is the most important. So let's start with the secondary. You're the server. Call the score. Yeah, you should call the score. Tell your partner where you're going to serve. Yes, either with signals or you talk. Put 70. Yes. But more important than that is identify and serve to your opponent's weakness, your weaker side. So this is one of my pet peeves. I never had a powerful serve. So if I want to hold, here's the thing. Let's go to another example. It's a 4.0 match, 4.0 USTA league match. You look across the court and you're about to serve to this 4.0 named Bill. Okay, so Bill has a forehand and backhand. You're going to send it to one of those. If I could figure out, which isn't that hard to do, that Bill, which side is weaker, for example, Bill's, forehand is more like a 4.5 and his backhand is more like a 3.6. This is huge to know. Then my job is I have to have the ability to identify, that's part one, and then serve to the weaker side. So if you're not good at this, you could literally be playing a 4-5 player. Or if you are good at it, you could be playing mostly against a 3-5 player. It's up to us. That's how important accuracy is on the serve. So that, and then on the next shot, after you serve, I want you to hit your favorite shot, whether it's going to be a volley, whether it's going to be a forehand. And there's geometrical realities to that. So I'm right-handed. If I want a forehand, I should send the ball out wide on the other side, run them off the court, because the angle's coming back more likely going to be angling to the side of the court. And that's my forehand. If I serve up the tee, I might have to move myself to hunt for a forehand. So that's just the thing. And now in the class, we're going to show you a drill. We're not doing that today. but let's go to the server's partner. Okay. So you're the server's partner. Okay. You're up at the net. Should be moving your feet before the serve is struck. Not just like pitter patter, but like literally moving like a returner moves forward. The server's partner should be moving forward as the server serves. It's the same footwork as a return of serve. Watch the coaches, or I'm sorry, watch the players. They do it. And if the return goes past you, then you start doing the double stance. And we are going to be highlighting the double stance and what the heck that even means here later tonight. And I'll even show you when we go live in the master class the double stance drill and how you can actually practice this and actually get good at it. Okay, now you're the returner. They're serving to you. Okay, so you would think that my number one thing on the returner, I'm dealing with rec players. Okay, I'm not coaching on the tour, never have, never will. I'm dealing with everyday players, 3-5, 3-0 to 4-5. And the number one missed opportunity in doubles is these crappy serves that come our way. Sometimes we're like, oh, I hate it when I have a weak server. Their serve is such a patty cake. I miss it. And not knowing how to properly attack that second serve, this is the primary job. It's not so much the big swing. It's more like treating it like an approach shot and getting the right ratio of how much body is going forward and how much swing size you have. The more you crash the net, or the more you move through the shot, like an approach shot, if you will, the less your stroke is. Okay. So if you stay back and there's no movement forward, you take a big old cut at the ball. But if you are moving forward and you still take that big cut at the ball, that's going to be a problem. Okay. So that's the returner's job. And there's a drill called dice returner that'll help you do that. And then the returner's partner. In my opinion, this is the most misunderstood because it's the only job description that it depends. Everybody else on the court knows what they should do. Even before the point starts, I know what I'm doing. On the returner's partner, you have to wait to see. If the return goes to the net man, you have one job. If the return goes past the net man, then you have a different job. So that is unbelievably misunderstood. I think people just assume, well, I'm playing with Peter. He's pretty good. Of course, he's going to hit a cross court. And we just start moving in too early. And then all of a sudden he doesn't. And then you get picked off. And those are little silly errors and they add up real quickly. And you lose 6-4, 6-4. And you walk off the court. You're like, how did I lose to these bozos? 6-4, 6-4. I mean, I'm way better than that. All right. So that I just wanted to kind of show the job descriptions a little bit. And in the master class, we'll do a seminar, a drill called secondary poaching. Okay. Another thing that I have here is the toughest return of all the return of serves. In my opinion, this is Jorge. I'm not saying it only because it was my most difficult return. I think it's the most difficult return across the board. Obviously with some exceptions. We're making the assumption we're all right-handed players here. So the person returning on the bottom, he's a right-handed player. I know his rack is backwards. But the hardest return is the right-handed player in the deuce court hitting a backhand, that inside-out backhand. That shot, man, that is the bear. It's so hard to hit it late, kind of inside out, so it stays away from maybe this guy is very active. So the reason I say this is because in the last 10 years of coaching doubles teams, when we do all the debate, like, should I my forehand in the middle? But you know what I do now? It's who has the best return from this side. Now, if I got a lefty like Peter, I might be set. But I look at my two players. Now, especially if you're playing 3-5 or higher, 4-0 or higher for sure, people are going to be able to get it to your backhand. So for me, when I played with Mike Woody, my inside out backhand here was weak. That was my weakest one. I would try like crazy to hit a forehand. Sometimes I could, sometimes I couldn't. I would lob, if they did get it to my backhand, I'd often hit a defensive lob over the net guy. That's not the best play at the 5-0 level. My partner's eating it. So think about that when you're determining between the two players, who has the better inside out shot from that position. And I think that should be calculated and looked into. Okay. Another thing on that checkpoint, these are all quick checkpoints, and I know I'm going fast, but we are going to open this up. I want to discuss what happens. So here's the deal. I play doubles. I actually liked playing doubles more than I did singles. I was a better doubles player than singles player, in my opinion. Um, and it's so much fun. But we know there's just so much trauma with doubles teams. And my coach put me with this person. I don't like that person. We don't gel. And so it's not even about the tennis. It's just about like the vibe, right? So I came up with this term doubles partner mojo vibes. Okay. And really it starts with the recognition that there is a between point performance for doubles. Sometimes I refer to it as traffic patterns, how people move around the court between. And what I've discovered, this is really a ripoff from Dr. Jim Lair, famous sports psychology. He has very similar system that he calls the 16-second cure, but it's all for singles. And it helped me so much as a singles player that I mean, it saved me, to be honest with you. And then I played a lot of doubles. I go, well, he doesn't really have anything for doubles. So then I started looking, what are the best teams doing between the point? I didn't look during the point. I looked between the point. And I came up with 4 very distinctive things that they do immediately after every point. Now, obviously, this is when things are going good. Now, if they're fighting and they're throwing the racket at each other or not talking, I'm not talking about those days. I'm talking when it's going well. Immediately when the point's done, they find each other. The partners find each other. They don't look away from each other. There's Peter. Boom, I see him. Okay, then they come together and there's some kind of physical touch typically. Then there's this little thing where they walk back to the baseline together. Often you'll see them kind of muttering or strategizing or talking close, maybe whispering. And then they separate and they go back to their starting positions. Okay. So those are the 4. Now, this is learnable and this is teachable. So these next couple here, this is just a video. I'm going to mute it, but this is some guys I work with. And this is me teaching them. I'm going to jump forward here, Peter. Okay, so I'm teaching them the 4 things that we just covered, right? So here I am on the court. I got my clipboard. I'm clearly not playing too serious. So the point starts. Don't even care about the point. We're looking between point. I get, oh, look at me, quick hands. I pick it up. The guy here. So the point ends, okay? Immediately, part 1, boom, we find each other. Part 2 came together. Okay, at physical touch, belly bump, whatever, knuckles, high five. 3, we walk back together. Look at this happening. I'm sure. Hey, I want you to serve here, Peter. Don't worry. You got whatever they whisper. Then jog. Don't walk like you're walking, trudging. You jog into position and you repeat. Okay, that there is gold. Now, you might say, does that really happen? So I pulled a couple videos and we're going to watch them. I got these muted, I think. So this happens to be like an unbelievable point. It goes forever. This is the Bryan brothers on the top of the screen. It is kind of a fun point, so I'll let you play. It goes like for 30. Just crazy save. I'll give you sound effects. The crowd's going nuts. Reflex. Kill it. He's got it. Spank. Boom. He did that sharp angle over the head. Oh, he's backing up again. Tweener.
Are you kidding me?
And now watch. Did you see it? Oh, poop. I messed up already.
Oh, too. That's great. You had it so good.
Yeah, I had it right where I wanted
it. We can watch it again.
Okay. Okay, so why? This is like bonkers point, obviously.
The sound effects are what make it. Okay, here it is.
Okay, and points done. What do you see the Bryan brothers do? They found each other immediately.
Yes.
That's there. Now, they don't always do that, but they came together with a physical touch. Now, what are they doing? They're walking back together. Notice they're not going one to the net.
Mm-hmm.
That's proof. I mean, just watch them and you'll see this over and over and over. So let's see what we have on this video here. Oh, sorry, that's the same one. So let's go to the next slide.
Jorge really likes that point.
I like that point. Okay, so this is the double stance and a close to close. All right, so watch these pro women play and watch these 2 ladies here. I say that they're doing a double stance. They're kind of moving back and forth. And, when the ball's on this side, this person can attack. When it clears, then this person can attack. They do it medium, to be honest with you. So watch the two net players and tell me if they're just standing there or if they look like they're active. Boom. See that one fake? Okay, watch. Ugh. That's a close to close. So let's just replay this because a couple things happen here. Back and forth they go. Okay. Look at the net people moving, faking. Okay, I did it again. Here's the first screw up. A deep guy went to the close guy. You notice that deep guy went to this close guy, boom. But see what this person did? Watch it again. The lob was wrong. It went to the close person. The overhead went to the close person, which is correct, but that person defending was actually far enough back. Let's see if I can show it here. Watch this girl here. But she backed up. She gave herself a fighting chance. And even though the overhead at her face, she actually gets her racket on it and they continue playing. So one of the things I hope people will do as an assignment, not that you want a homework assignment, is let me pause this. Is I want you to watch doubles, but differently. Don't even watch, just fast forward through the points and just start looking at the between point stuff. And then start looking at this doubles dance. Like, know what you're looking for. So this one, same lady, same doubles match. I'm just going to let it play for about 30 seconds. It's probably going to go through 4 points. And you're going to see over and over and over the between point, the mojo, as I call it. The points are done. These ladies, this was a good match. They had a really heck of a match. So look at how much. All right. I did it again, Peter. Look at me go. So I go back. Let's play this, baby. Boink. All right, here we go. Watch the ladies between the points, how quickly they are to get to each other. Boom. You see it?
Yeah.
And now they're walking back together. All right. This lady's happy. Here's a replay of the thing. Quick hands, doink, points done. By the way, the other team's doing the same thing.
Of course.
Eye contact, physical. Here's another point, different one. Boom, that lady poaches. Couldn't quite get it. Watch what they do. Bottom team, boom, come together. Nice. And they walk off the court. Here's another one. Okay, they're moving close to close. Got it. Don't worry about the point. Look at what happens immediately after the point. Win or lose. Come on. And they go back together. So the evidence is like overwhelmingly there. I'm going to show you this video. I'm going to go through it quickly because I cover this more in depth. But the way I teach this, is this. If you want to get good at this double dance thing, I know we're talking two things like between points and doubles dance. This is how you do it. Notice how the players are catching the ball. You rally it to your friend, but you catch it and you stop for a second. And then phase 2 is just slow rally. Now my guys are doubles dancing. That's what I call that. That doubles dance skill is a 3-5 to 4-0 skill. Very few 3-0 players do this well. And if they are doing it well, they're not 3-0s for very long. They're getting rated up pretty quickly. So that is a doubles dance. And to me, it's a defining thing of a higher level player or a good player. What they do. The days of serving and volleying, they're done, to be honest with you. Even now, I was such a hard ass about that. I would make my people do it probably longer than I should. But you need to know how to do this double stance. Is probably the number one thing. Okay. We're almost to the end. I'm going to just do one or two of these. This is kind of like my poor man's version of what Brent Abel does. I really like when he picks the right shot. And
yeah, that's good.
This with a couple of guys. So these are 5-0 players, by the way. Let's just let this go. And then we're going to pause. You'll see that I pause it here. Okay, boom. I pause it. I'm going to pause it right here. Okay, it's good serve. The returner went to the net guy. Kind of a weak return because there was a good serve. This guy goes close to close. And now Adam is way back here and he's kind of moving backwards. What do you think he should hit? Maybe a little chipper over here, but look at, you think this guy's not burning rubber over there in a minute? I think he is. Should he hit it over here? Should he lob it? What should he do? So let's just rewind and see how we got here, right to here. Bam. Okay. So let it go. What do you think it's going to do? We're going to see in a second. He goes over the net guy. And now they've gotten out of trouble. He was definitely in trouble. He had a volley come at him and he was in no man's land. The lob saved him a little bit. Let's do another one. That's actually the same one. So let's do another one. Okay. Here we go. What do you do? Good volley.
Ooh.
Oof. What do you think?
Well, first of all, why is he going to get that? What's he going to
Yeah. That's a, that's a tough, he's opting for a half volley basically. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Bob would have been able to take a good cut at a
Oh,
backhand here.
absolutely.
And Bob's good. So let's see how this evolves. Oh, another lob.
The lob, you can never go wrong with a lob, really.
Yeah.
And
Overhead.
good overhead.
point
Yeah,
down.
nice. Nice.
Okay. So we'll go to the third and last one. And we're going to open up to questions. Okay. So do you see how the point started? They're on defense. They lobbed it. Adam's lining up for an overhead. He hits an overhead. And now Matt. What do you do? Matt's not totally in trouble, right? He's going to be able to hit that. He's not like digging it out of his shoelaces. Nate's in position. Bob's closed in pretty tight. Adam's back coming in. So what would you do, Peter? I think I know what I would do. If I was looking at this right now, I would probably try to hit it straight ahead low.
Yeah, I would try and hit it low at the charging net person, or I would maybe lob over the guy who's very close
because he's
to
really
the net.
tight, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Those are my 1 and 2 options, to be honest with you. So we're like minds here. But what does he actually do? It's going to play, rips it down the line. Little risky, didn't need it. It was pretty wide, or pretty aggressive. So, guys, that's mostly my PowerPoint. I want to basically stop showing you that now, and I want to talk and see what you think.
I'm coming back.
Was there anything smart in there?
Well, I have a couple of questions with even follow-up questions, and you guys get your questions ready. Whether someone asks it or not, I know it's a question. I'm sure you've got it a lot too, and you've worked around clubs for forever. So
yep.
You're talking about the questions. You're talking about coming together and all that stuff in between the mojo. And the people on this live stream are going to agree with you. Like, yeah, that seems important, but I can't get my teammates to do that. No one wants to do that. No one does that at our club. So my 2 questions are, A, do you notice a difference through the years of teams at your club that are pretty much like everybody says, where you just can't get them to talk? They won't talk across the board. 1 through 5 teams, they're just like out there doing their own thing, versus certain teams that get together and actually implement this stuff. Is there a real difference in results in your experience? That's question number 1.
Yeah. So I think over the years, more people are open to this type of training than used to be. To me, I also find it's very age specific. I can get adult players to I could show them, first of all. So as a coach, and maybe you as a partner who wants your partner to do this, you don't talk them into it. You just say, hey, I listened to this freaking orange shirted guy the other day, had a couple of good points. Let me show you what he showed me. And you start showing the pros doing the between point stuff. It's like, this is really interesting. I never even thought about that. What do you think, dude? You want to try some of this? I mean, I want to get better. I'll do anything to get better. That's maybe a good way to approach it. And what if they say no? Okay, that's still a possibility. But at the end of the day, you can't like literally get your partner in a headlock and say, we're doing a mojo, dude, or I'm going to kill you.
Mhm.
Um, so as a coach, I can control a little bit. So we spend time at the end when I don't coach a lot of teams anymore, but when I was on the court coaching USTA teams, men and women, we would do point play, and I would announce, okay, we're going to play doubles and we're going to do this. Okay, for the next 10 minutes, I'm only going to measure you on your between point performance. And as a reminder, here's the 4 steps. And we would literally practice that. Sometimes we would not even play tennis. I'd say, I want you to shadow 3 strokes because I don't want you to even getting upset or happy or mad or judging the shots, and then go into the between point. Come together, walk me. And when you practice it initially, it seems weird. It'd be like, hey, Peter, come up here in front of everybody and do a little role playing. You're like, oh God. Uh,
Right.
but all you have to do is just look at the pros. If the pros are doing it, I would be interested in doing it. That was like, I was a respectful student as a junior, but I had a wrong head about stuff. Like if it mental toughness, that's not why I lost. I lost because I need better strokes. I need a bigger shot. But I would listen. But as I got older and I saw like, wow, everybody like on the pro tour like works on their mental skills. Maybe dumb me, I should maybe do some of that. So I think that's one of it. And I think as a coach, it's really important. Um, so that's one thing. And a lot of people tell me like, well, I don't get this kind of coaching. So unfortunately, a lot of clubs, if you go into the actual club, they're not doing that. I would admit that there's a lot of clubs that are just kind of doing a semi-boring, let's fed the ball, okay, play, see you next week kind of lesson. And I think you can ask, like, hey, can we work on some between point stuff? And some coach might look at you and say, what are you even talking about? Um, but I do think that's a thing, Peter. I do think that it's a difficulty. Just like if someone's really eager, like I need some mental skills coaching. That's not the easiest thing to go find. There's courses online, and you and I have stuff for that. But you can't go into your average club in whatever city, USA, and say, who can work with my mental skills? They'll kind of look at you like, well, we have cardio tennis on Monday. You want to come to that? I want to work on my mental skills. Well, you could do a private with so and so. Will he work on my mental skills? I don't know. I mean, it's hard to come across.
Yeah.
Someone to fix my forehand. Oh, here's 100 people that'll try to fix your forehand.
Right.
On the
Right. Right.
technical side. I need somebody to make me faster. Oh, we have this specialist on movement.
Yeah.
So this mental stuff and even a little bit the strategy is harder to consume, but super necessary.
Mm. See, that's why tennis kind of so awesome, guys. You
That's
get
right.
these master
Honestly, there's
classes.
more of that kind of stuff in tennis con than they'll probably ever get at their clubs.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, have you noticed a difference? Like, can you think of teams through the years that they were struggling and then they implemented this and they didn't necessarily become better strikers of the ball, but all of a sudden their team started to win. Maybe they won their section, went to states, went to nationals. Like, are there any success stories you can think of that by just
Yeah,
implementing these things that you've
for
been able to
sure.
do?
So I've been at this for 40 years. So I've coached tens of thousands of individuals over 40 some years. Um, at my clubs, to me, they come in 2 forms: USTA league teams, and I mean, I don't know how many doubles or state championships or sectional, even national, but it's literally hundreds and hundreds of state champions that have gotten better because they've taken this kind of stuff serious. Um, at the high school, I can actually quantify at the high school level. People in my programs we have 202 separate high school state champions that have come out of our program. This is doubles.
Wow. Wow.
So now in Michigan, there's 4 doubles, and you can play whatever division. We just last weekend we had 3 more kids win doubles championships, state champions, and they will put them up on the wall, and I document them. Now, most of those kids, when they come, we actually have a doubles class for juniors. It's like you're not coming to hit better force and backhands, you're coming to play doubles. Because in Michigan, there's 4 singles positions in high school and there's 4 doubles, and you can't play both. You play one or the other.
Hmm.
This means there's 8 doubles players on varsity and there's 4 singles players. And when we talk to the local coaches, at the end of every year, at the end of every season, I call all my local coach friends and say, "Hey, what do we need to do at the club? Because you see them play 30 matches, which I don't." And they say two things: dude, fix their serves. Tons of bad serves in high school, and these kids, they're doubles illiterate. You got to teach them doubles. In Michigan, if they show up and they don't know the basic doubles positions or shifting or dancing or close to close. So we address that by having an actual junior, like, high school class that's all double strategy. And
which is sorely needed, by the way.
oh yeah.
It's because most kids' dream once they start getting good these days is, can they play college tennis? And college tennis is, the doubles point is so huge.
Mhm.
I mean, it's amazing how many matches go one way or the other, just depending on how that doubles point goes. And pretty much all the juniors just play singles their whole way through. They have no idea what they're doing on doubles court. I learned how to play doubles in college. Really, barely played a doubles match, and I didn't value it. I didn't value a doubles match. It was like, oh, I'm just playing doubles for fun at this tournament, like for laughs. And then all of a sudden, you're in college, and the coach is like, "We got to get this point," and you're like,
Right.
"Oh wow, this is like
Yeah.
serious." So that's awesome. Okay, we have a couple questions.
Yeah. Hit me
Um,
up.
so did Kathy says, did you say serve and volley isn't the way to play anymore?
So
Gigi's
yeah,
not
the
going to be
great
happy with that,
question.
by the way.
So I have a little history on that question. So when I played, everybody in the 70s served and volleyed. If you were playing doubles, you were serving and volleying, and there wasn't even a question. So as I became a coach, that's how I taught my players to play. But then slowly over the years, things changed. I don't know if it was on a Tuesday in 1999 or on a Thursday in 2014, but now here's the deal. I have coached a couple girls that won national championships. One of them is Linda Tran, dear friend still. She won the girls 18 indoors. That's a gold ball. That's the best in the country. Okay. And I wanted her to serve and volley, and to the point where we would fight. And if she wouldn't serve and volley, I would leave the match and wouldn't watch. And we'd fight about it. The girl did win it, the tournament. But here's an eye opener that kind of came to me. So as I was fighting and bumping heads with my students, like, you got to serve and volley, they're killing me on the return because the strings are more spin and more power. I had a change of heart. I know exactly right when it happened. It was probably 15 years ago. I was at the U.S. Open, which I usually go to, and it was whatever day, third, fourth, fifth day, and I'm kind of roaming around the back 40, that back by the park over there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that day, at that time, that day, it was all women's doubles going on, main draw women's doubles, and I'm watching just all this awesome doubles. And I kind of said, what would be a good exercise for me? I'm going to watch and see how many play serve and volley at the world class level. And I watched for about an hour. I must have watched 100 and some points. And literally at the US Open, serve and volley in tennis, one time out of 120 points, let's say.
Mm.
Uh, by the way, it was Martina Hingis who served and volleyed in that doubles match. So here I'm sitting now having like this dystopia of my brain, like, wait a minute, how can I be such a hard ass about this and make my old lady go in, and I'm yelling at her if she does it, when the best players in the world aren't doing it anymore. So I would love it if a lot of my players would come in, and especially if they had, mature enough volleys and net plays and half volleys and overheads to actually have it work. The reality is most people's ground strokes have surpassed their front court skills, so they don't do it. Now, there's still reality. There's geometrical advantages of being close to the net. You can dish out more angles, you receive fewer angles. But I think even at the pro level now, guys are serving and staying back and just beating the crap out of the ball. So what becomes really important is the doubles dance, because the old position of the best thing to be is two in, the next is two back, and the worst thing you want is one up, one back. I remember hearing that and preaching that. And now the
Mm-hmm.
most common play, you don't even have to listen to me. The most common thing you'll see on the pro tour, women and even a lot of men, is one up, one back. And they don't come in until they get a shot where they're really on the offense.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I answer that question. But I think, to be real honest, it's changed. It's not the primary way to play doubles now.
I agree with you. I'm going to say one thing though to everybody. Like my public service announcement these days, it's like get good at the continental grip. Because the game has changed and that's what we're watching on TV, everybody's thinking that's exactly how they got to play and that's the right way to play on a doubles court. And in my opinion, the more I do these camps, people are picking up too many single skills and not enough double skills. They're most of the points, even if you have one up, one back, somebody's got to hit a volley. Too many people are not comfortable with their continental grip. Another thing, what Jorge talked about earlier today, making a mess out of a slow second serve. It's very hard to have a slow ball come as a recreational player and wind up and create all the pace and hit an amazing topspin forehand for 2 out of 3 sets like you're Roger Federer and you'd have to hit the ball like 90 miles an hour. I taught the chip and charge at my last camp. No one even thinks about it anymore. It was weird. I was teaching the guy was in his 60s. He had a decent forehand topspin and he picked up the chip shot like that. I'm like, you're one of the best I've ever seen at this. And then he's chipping, charging the ball. It's like going like ice off the court. It's like skidding. It's going fast and violent. I'm like, you're amazing at this. He's like, I've never, ever thought about doing this. He goes the next day back home and plays the best the best team in his group. And they beat him 6-0, 6-1 with his partner. He said, the reason why that happened was I was just on fire with that chip shot you taught me. So guys, like just because you're watching TV and yes, maybe serving volley is tougher these days, don't sleep on the continental grip and don't be afraid to throw in a serving volley once in a while. Okay, we got some really good questions here.
Yeah.
Okay. So Bruce says, as a net player, should I ever glance back at my partner returning a deep ball? When might it be okay? I know this is an age-old debatable question.
Yeah. So I've been having this debate with people forever. Um, so here's what I settled on, and I think I'm right. Because I played, right? And so let's say I'm facing this way, and my partner, the return goes past me and my partner. There's one school of thought will say, as soon as it goes past you, Jorge, you don't look at your partner because you got to be looking at the other net team to see if they're closing in on you and stuff like that. Um, and I thought, okay, that kind of makes sense. So I don't look. But if I don't look and my partner shanks one and it's a poor shot, I won't know that until it comes into my vision. And now it's too late. So here's what I think really happens. I know it's kind of what I do or did. And I think what really happens. So I think it's not looking at your partner, it's kind of peeking. So if I was playing with Peter, I'm pretty sure to this day, Peter serves, I'm at the net, it gets past me, it goes to Peter. I look at Peter, okay, but I don't just keep looking at Peter until he hits it, and then I go and, oh, geez, sir. I look and then I assess. He's going to rip this one. I can see before he even hits it. He's lined up. He's moving in, or oh, he's scrambling and has got an open face and he's going backwards. I get those cues, and that's already telling me what I think is going to come this way. I don't have to watch it happen. As soon as I go this way and I peek and I see Peter moving in with his big lefty forehand and he's like inside the baseline, he's drooling, I know to move in. Okay. So I think you do look, but you don't look through the shot. You kind of peek to kind of get a clue of what may be coming, what kind of trouble or not your partner is in. And then you go over here. So by the time he hits, my eyes are over here. But I got the best of both worlds. I look over here so I don't get caught off guard. No one, closes me to death. But I peeked so I can see, oh, that really, he's hitting a half volley off the baseline. He's going to just pop this up. I got to back
Mm-hmm.
up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a peak, is what I think happens.
I think you're right. I was watching one of the years for Tennis Con. Gigi's always part of it. Gigi Fernandez, 17-time Grand Slam champion. We're so blessed to have her and wishing her the very best. In case you guys don't know, she lives around the Tampa area and most likely is going to lose her house because of the hurricane. But anyway, I was watching her old videos, just watch her play doubles. Amazing doubles player. And I'm not sure. She might be someone who teaches you don't look back. But I watched a number of points and she does the peak like you said. But she knows, the right time to peak and then the right time to look forward so she's not getting caught. I mean, that's the key. And so if you need a cue, if you're wondering, like, I think my partner might be in trouble, I'm not sure. It's a good idea, I think, to do a quick peek to verify, like, oh yeah, they're in big trouble. Maybe I should start moving back because the next ball is probably going to be coming really hard, and maybe I could just defend the ball and we can go back, both of us, and lob the ball up. Or like Jorge said, they're about to step into it. Maybe I could do that doubles dance, get an early step in there, and steal the middle and do like a little cross poach. So good answer on that. All right, we've got like 3 great questions back to back, so I'm gonna just keep going right through them. Helpful PowerPoint and advice. It was a very good presentation. Thank you, Jorge. Any tips on facing a team where one player hits the ball very hard and the other player is a lobber/pusher?
Sure. So to me, I always liked playing against a hard hitter, because if I was at the net, I'd actually borrow the power. I'd rather, if I'm hitting a backhand volley, I'd rather have you hit it 70 miles an hour versus 30, where I have to add power to it. I could borrow your power. So when you volley, you should be able to do 3 things. You should take a volley. You should be able to add power. Pow. You should be able to match the power. Peter rips at 70. I hit it back 70. And I should be able to take power off. Peter rips at 70 and I send it back 30. So that's one thing. But maybe if you're like, well, power overwhelms me, I don't have quick hands, I'd rather be having someone lob me like this pusher, because if it's a lob, I have more time and my overhead's reliable. So it really depends on what you want. If I was playing that scenario, and I would probably be talking to my partner, dude, who do you want? Let's hit it mostly to the guy that rips it, or let's hit it mostly to the guy that lobs. Once we decide that, then we kind of actually isolate that and try to get more of what we want. So now, if I was playing today, I have bad knees, so I don't like going back for lobs. And if Peter and I were a doubles team and tomorrow we're playing somebody that's just like what you're describing, one's a banger and a ripper and one's a lobber, I'd be like, I'm taking most of my lobs, unless I can put it away on someone. I'm taking most of my lobs to the banger because I'm going to get what I want.
Right.
So that's one way to kind of think about it. I know I'm going to answer a question which I think I saw way at the beginning. How do you deal with a person that lobs to death? Let's say, well, I don't want to, we're playing teams. I'm sure someone probably asked us, how do you deal with a lobber? So here's the thing
Yeah.
about getting lobbed. That's probably the number one complaint I get from our USTA senior teams. Okay. I have, 55 teams, they play USTA leagues, they're seniors. And they come back, oh my gosh, it was a lob fest. They just lobbed us to death. It wasn't real tennis. They were complaining about the lob. But here's the deal. There's only one reality. If you think about it, if you reverse engineer this, for someone to lob, for Peter to lob me, Peter has to be where? At the baseline, at the net.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fact of life.
Yep.
If he lobs, 99% of them originate from the baseline. So if you are getting lobbed to death, you should not be hitting people to the baseline. You should be hitting touch volleys almost exclusively. Let them run forward. Now when they lob, they don't have 78 feet. They got 60 feet and they hit it long. Most people lob best when they actually back up a step or two. So I don't ever get terrorized by lobbers, because if I did, I would just say I had a pretty decent drop volley. So just remember that one thing. If you're getting lobbed to death, you're partially responsible, because you're hitting balls to the baseline. Now, if everybody's at the net and someone volleys you, that's a different animal. But as soon as I started equipping our players with a drop volley, a touch volley, um, I didn't even have to be a winner. I'd be like, hey, I don't care if they get it. I just want them to be up by the service line when they get it. And let's see how good they are at lobbing from there. And they're not generally. So this is the big thing that a lot of people don't even know. They just kind of, well, I'm a victim. Well, you volleyed it deep. Well, of course I volleyed deep. I was told when I was 2 years old to volley deep. This is like all my life I've been volleying. We should volley short. What? Why would I volley short? Because you don't want to be live. So that's probably like a big aha different. And for some of you, maybe it's pretty obvious, right? I mean, it's not that creative strategy, but very few people actually deploy it. And in the heat of competition, when you're getting live and you're frustrated because you just missed two easy overheads and now you're ticked off, it's probably not going to come to you. In the touch volley, dude, a lot of people, this is why I think one of my pet peeves, I always say the volley does three things: the add, match, and take power off. And the one that people do almost exclusively is add. This is what I think. I mean, the volley comes. Of course, I hit a volley. I had a coach who his catchphrase for volleys was "stick it."
Yeah.
I remember, a great coach, by the way. He coached pro players, not me, like real pro players. So to me, growing up with a coach, I was saying, stick it, stick it. The way I interpreted that was, well, I have to add power. Every volley, I should be adding power. It was just a misassumption I made. And I did that all the way through college until another coach got a hold of me. And I was a certain volleyer. And a really good friend of mine, Brian Marcus, he was an older guy that could beat our butts because he played on the tour. And he said, you don't volley good. I'm like, what? And he told me, let me have you try some. Come out and hit 10% more underspin on all your volleys. Just 10% more underspin. And I'll smack him at you and you volley him back to me. And like I had one of those rare, like whoa. And in 1 minute at 7:08 p.m. on that evening, my volley improved 50% because to me, with 10% more underspin just meant I was taking a little bit. And it didn't matter. If I got it down by my ankles, I was adding power. And that didn't work that good. So that's a really key thing. I think people, if you could have look at like Fed and these guys, how many times they finish with touch volleys. But most rec players, they only know one thing, which is the add. You got to be able to do all three. There are times when you should take a ball and add power to it. There's times where you should take it and just match it, just massage it back. You're not in position to win. And there's times you should take power off and bring the guy up. Some people, if you do that, I mean, you 0-0 because they can't get off the baseline.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is so key. One of the words within that question was pusher. And I have the same philosophy as Jorge. What's a more respectful, proper name for a pusher? Counterpuncher. Well, what does that mean? It means a counterpuncher, they enjoy being hit. They like it. And they want you to come in and try and put the smack down on them. That's when they're the most comfortable. So you're playing right into their game. They're like, think of them as Rocky Balboa. We're like, hit me again. And they love it. And you basically throw all your punches out, exhaust yourself, and put on forced errors. And the next thing, you can't believe you lost. Where the more you can put a pusher into skillful areas of the court where they have to demonstrate offense and skill, they don't like that because now they're having to become the puncher, and they don't like to be the puncher. They want to counter to what you're doing. All right. We got to get to Sharon Levy. Sharon Levy, veteran of our live streams, great lady. As the server's partner, where should I stand if my partner is unable to cover a lob over my head? What do you think?
So I have a theory about that position when I'm at the net and Peter's behind me serving. I think the number one screw up that's made there is people generally, our coach will find the middle of the box. Okay, that's where you stand, and that's where you align. But I discovered a long time ago that if you look, when people return serve, especially in doubles, they're doing their little swaying back and forth, and as the toss goes up, they move forward. They do a little split step, and then they jump forward, and they move inward. Okay, and they counter punch. That if you watch the really best doubles players at the net, that's what they do. So what I do, Peter, is I cut the service box in half from the net to the baseline. I put an imaginary line there, and I start behind the line and I move in front of the line. I call it migration or border crossing. It's just literally a line. Sometimes it's literally a line or a piece of tape or something, smack in the middle of the box. The closest part to the net is zone 1. That's really close. Zone 2 is the back part of the service box, but still in the service box. And I always have our players start in zone 2 and end up in zone 1. Yep. From there to there, they just, yep. So it's the actual forward movement. And man, I got to tell you, when the ball comes that quickly, if someone takes it at you when you're at the net, it's on top of you, right? So I describe it to our players like, if you don't do that, let's say you're super ready. So you're at the net, okay, from the waist up, you're super ready, man. Like, I'm ready, and you're rocking back and forth, but your feet are flat. And then the ball gets hit, and then you go, and then later your feet come later. I can see that 40 courts away. So if you are cheating, imagine a sprinter at a 100-yard dash, right? You know how they get in their blocks and they're all behind the line. And even if you fidget a little bit and get a head start, illegal, you can't do it. Well, imagine if Peter was down in all fours, and this was the starting line, right, where this thing is, and here's Peter going this way, and here comes Jorge, and Jorge is running already.
Yeah.
I mean, that's illegal. It's too much of an advantage. Why did he should be at a dead standstill? No, we don't have to be like track people in a block. We should be like moving. It's like starting the race where you're already running.
So if you're starting back there and you're moving up, that's the thing too. This person, the last thing they're thinking about is lobbing you, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're like right on top of the net and ready to poach. Am I getting that right?
Yeah. And just the fact that you're moving lets you get to more balls and get away from more balls, and you're a little bit more distractive. But I think too many people that are upper body ready. So from the waist up, they're like,
everybody should try that this week.
And then you look at their feet, completely flat.
You're so right. I mean, you are so right.
So activate the feet. And the best example I can give you is look at the best returners. Many returners activate their feet, and they're moving ahead of time. And I think the net man should do the same.
Yeah, Andy Murray will start right there. He'll take huge hops and actually get quite inside the baseline. Yeah. So everybody, if you're listening, hopefully you're still listening, really listening. That's not tuned in and tuned out. You should try that. That is really cool. All right, Jorge, we've been over an hour, so I really, really appreciate your time. We also had a great turnout from everybody, over 150 people at one point.
Nice.
Now, Tennis Con has officially started. A lot of you guys are watching this, and maybe you're realizing, wow, this is a lot of good stuff. And you don't want to miss a thing, right? You don't want to miss one of your favorite presentations, but then you have to go out and play a match, right? So what are you going to pick? Go play a match, watch a presentation. You can do both. You can go play your match. You get lifetime access, come back and watch all the presentations anytime you want to, right? And put all this pressure on yourself. So Jorge always has a good bonus for us if you buy off his special link. So
I'm going to show it to you.
And I'm going to put your link in the chat. So I'm putting your link in the chat right now. It should pop up. Hopefully it will pop up. Not seeing it pop up. Maybe it's not letting your link go in there. Well, I'll send an email after this if they're not letting me put the link in there. But go ahead. Tell them about your bonus, and then we'll both.
Okay, so I just shared my screen, I think, and it's best just to show. So, guys, the bonus I'm going to have is 60 days access to my Tennis Drills website. I'm just going to show. I can tell you this: it has 2,000 tennis drills and 140 courses, tennis related. So if you go here to this section, you see singles drills, doubles drills, serving drills. You'll have more ideas on what you can do that you can shake a stick at. In the singles category alone, let me just rip through this. There's 286 singles drills, and every one of these drills you can watch them big screen, but they have a printable diagram. Um, so I'll show you that. So you can download a couple thousand of those if you want to.
Hmm.
So there's that. But also, you can go to this drill search and say, well, I'm not a coach, but I'm going to show me some drills for one or two people. And you start filtering that are net drills. And they're for me and my friend, and we're 4-0 players. So you do that filtering, and then it shows them for you. But really, where I think most of you would enjoy is this this lab, because now these are actual courses. So if I click in teaching, you're going to see this is where the 140 some courses live. These are now full on courses. And you'll recognize some of these names: myself, Mark Fix, Frank Giampalo, Emma Doyle, Mika Ashby, Michelle. A lot of the people that you're already familiar with are doing these full on courses. And it's not just about a drill there. And then the final, oh, and by the way, I will show you this. There's a technique section, a fitness section, a mental toughness skills. If I click mental toughness courses, in here alone, there's 9 separate courses: overcoming nerves, creative ways to add pressure, the 5 concepts of mental toughness. I mean, it's pretty extensive. And then the last thing I'll show you on here is the singles and doubles strategies. Let's say I'm a singles player. You want to know, how do I beat the counter puncher? So you click that and it loads up basically tactics. Tactic 5, do this. Tactic 6, do that. And then each tactic is me on the courts teaching you how to do it. So you join me and you get to hear what I say as I teach it to one of my students and stuff. So it's called tennisdrills.tv. It's got 2,000 drills, 140 some courses, a strategy section. And I'm sure you'll be able to get all kinds of value out of it. But that seems to be the benefit. We do these bonuses. This bonus is the one that most people tell me, give me that one. That's the one because they've had it before. They like the access. So yeah, I
That
appreciate that, Peter. But
that
you'll
that
love
is
it.
incredible. First of all, so how long do they get access to that? How does that work
S-
exactly?
yeah, 60 days.
Wow, that's pretty good. And I saw some people said, yeah, Peter said Jorge's um,
All right, Peter.
website is awesome, and I can tell you that it is awesome too. I remember one year I was going to teach a clinic in Cincinnati, and I kind of had my stuff that I did, and it was turned into like our 5th year, and I'm like, I really want to mix it up this year. So I decided, all right, I'm going to actually buy Jorge's, and I'm still a member. I still the monthly
Yeah,
bill
thank you.
comes in, and so and I went and I made an outstanding weekend. I just loved the drills that I did. I felt like everything was fresh. And then I was able to, put my own spin on some certain things. And it was really excellent. So I can tell you, going in there is really, really good. I'm going to try one more time to make life easier on you guys. If you want to get lifetime access, I'm going to see, maybe it was because I was not in my account. I was in another account. So I'm going to try one more time here. So bear with me. Hopefully it'll let me grab the link. Of course, everything's running super slow. The internet definitely has, the internet and computers definitely have a sense of humor. Like even Jorge and I were struggling to get on tonight. I mean, how many live streams have we done, Jorge? And it's
Fun.
still doing that to us. But okay, so there you go. I did successfully put in Jorge's link. If you click on that link and you buy off it, you have to buy off that link, because that's the only way I can see who Jorge's customers were, and then I can send him the link, a list in a day or so, and then he can then email you the access. Okay, so that's the way it works.
Cool.
I thought I saw a question. I did Best of Tennis Con. Is that what you're talking about when you say lifetime membership? Well, yeah, you should have, if you order Tennis Con 8 plus the Best of Tennis Con, that's like a bonus. So you have Tennis Con 8, everything that we've done this year, you're going to get lifetime access to that. Plus, I picked my favorite videos, and also added that into Best of Tennis Con. So that's like an extra bonus, and you can go through those videos. So yeah. Anyway, guys, this was awesome. Jorge, amazing.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to let you get back to your vacation.
Yeah.
Guys, click the link, and Jorge, once again, a great
Thank you, guys, and
presentation.
thanks everybody for tuning in.
And we'll see you guys on the next video. Tomorrow night, Gigi Fernandez, 8 o'clock, doubles myths. That's going to be pretty cool.
Cool. Thanks, guys.